Tina Turner, her early life and childhood. Many women throughout history have felt unable to reveal the abuse they are suffering at the hands of a violent and abusive partner. Often too afraid or too psychologically crushed to escape the abuse they constantly suffer, the pain can be shared by few others. Such a nightmare scenario can only be elevated to new heights of torment if you and that partner happen to be a celebrated and successful musical act at the height of your popularity. But that's the life that Tina Turner found herself enduring through her married life to Ike. They were in the public eye constantly, but Tina bravely suffered in silence. Unable to defend herself against her violent and controlling husband, Tina entered the world as plain Anna Mae Bullock in November 1939. Her parents, Floyd Bullock and Zelma Priscilla, were hardworking but poor. Floyd was an overseer of sharecroppers at a farm in Tennessee, where Tina and Ruby Eileen, her older sister, had been born. During the Second World War, the young Anna Mae and her sister were separated from their parents and sent to live with their maternal grandparents in Knoxville. When the war was over, the Bullock family were reunited in Knoxville, where Anna Mae went to Flag Grove School. She wasn't very old before her family and school teachers noticed that she had an interest in singing, and she was soon enrolled to perform in the local church choir. Unfortunately, domestic turbulence occurred in the family home as Anna Mae entered her teenage years. Zelma ran away due to Floyd's abusive behavior, and not long after that Floyd remarried and abandoned both his daughters. With nowhere else to turn, Anna Mae returned to her grandmother. She attended Carver High, playing basketball and cheerleading at the school, but unfortunately, when she was 16, further tragedy affected her. Anna's grandmother died and she moved to St. Louis with her sister and mother. She graduated from Summer High School there and had early ambitions to follow a career in nursing. Anna Mae would visit nightclubs in St. Louis with her sister, and it was at the Club Manhattan that she met Ike Turner alongside Kings of Rhythm, his band that had a regular slot at the club. It wasn't long before Ike recognized her natural talent and gave her an opportunity in the music business, employing her as a backing singer in 1958. It was then that she began to use the stage name Tina Turner. Tina had her first child, Raymond Craig, in 1958 at the age of just 18. His father was the saxophonist of Kings of Rhythm, Raymond Hill. After the child was born, the relationship between Tina and Raymond became strained, with the tension between the two finally resulting in a fight between them. Ike and other band members intervened on Tina's behalf, and the ensuing scuffle resulted in a broken leg for the unfortunate Raymond, who left the band and returned home to Clarksdale, Mississippi. Ike and Tina Turner, a successful partnership but an abusive marriage. Tina moved in with Ike in 1958 and he began training her musically. Initially their relationship was purely platonic and Ike was still involved with his common-law wife Lorraine Taylor at the time. By the next year, however, things had changed and their relationship slowly developed, even though both of them were hesitant initially about moving things forward. In early 1960, Tina and Ike conceived a child, and Tina gave birth to her second son, Ronald, in October of that year. Early success followed for the duo, and in 1960, Ike and Tina's single, A Fool in Love, reached number 2 in the niche Hot R&B chart. The year after, It's Gonna Work Out Fine managed the top 20 and gave the duo their first nomination for a Grammy Award in the Best Performance category. The 60s were a turbulent time for Ike and Turner professionally, as well as personally. In a 5-year period from 1964 to 1969 they signed with many record labels, almost a dozen. But their popularity grew throughout the decade. In 1965 Phil Spector saw them perform in Los Angeles and produced River Deep, Mountain High, with Tina. The record was credited to both Ike and Tina, but Spector, who was well aware of Ike's controlling attitude, paid him $20,000 to stay away from the studio while the song was being recorded. It was not hugely successful at home but did better in Europe, reaching number 3 in the singles chart in the UK. This resulted in Tina being given the opportunity to open for Mick Jagger and the Stones during their UK tour. Tina signed for Liberty Records in 1970 and together with Ike, produced 2 albums. The rock-influenced Come Together in that year, followed by Workin' Together, released in 1971. The duo's popularity, helped by their popular revue being performed in Vegas, increased over time. Appearances on TV, including a performance on The Ed Sullivan Show, followed. In 1974, Tina recorded her first solo album, Tina Turns the Country On. The album was an enormous success and Tina received a Grammy nomination in the Best Female R&B Vocal Performance category for her efforts on it. In the same year, and in a departure from their normal sound, Ike and Turner produced a gospel music album called The Gospel According to Ike and Tina, which was another huge success. The pair were nominated for Best Soul Gospel Performance. Also in 1974, Tina was in the London-based musical Tommy, where she played the role of the Acid Queen. Her popularity in the UK grew far greater and she released a second solo album, The Acid Queen, in August 1975. As the 70s rolled on, Ike's cocaine addiction spiraled out of control and the long-suffering Tina had finally endured enough of her violent husband. In 1976, during a taxi ride to the Dallas Hilton Hotel, where the pair were due to perform, Tina finally snapped and fought back. A bloody fistfight ensued and soon after arriving at the hotel, she escaped to a friend's house and filed for divorce later the same month. Free from abusive Ike, Tina's successful solo career. Finally free from Ike, Tina embarked on a solo career. She performed at Las Vegas and appeared on TV in popular shows of the time, the popular Hollywood Squares, as well as performing on The Sonny and Cher Show. In 1977 she headlined a solo tour in Australia and in 1978 she released the album Rough, although it was not a great success, and neither was Love Explosion, released the year after. In 1983, thanks in part to David Bowie's help, Tina signed for Capitol Records and released Let's Stay Together in the same year. It was a huge hit, reaching position 26 at the Billboard Hot 100. It was also a top 10 charter hit in several European countries. In June 1984, after a career spanning 25 years, she finally struck superstardom with the release of her best-known work, Private Dancer. It was a massive success worldwide, reaching number 1 and spawning huge hits like the worldwide success Private Dancer, along with the equally celebrated Better Be Good to Me. The album amassed sales of over 5 million in America alone, and over 25 million worldwide. The best-selling album of her career had one more smash hit for the music world, the phenomenally successful What's Love Got to Do With It. It was Tina's most successful single and surprisingly, was her only US number 1. The song ranked at 38th in Rolling Stone magazine's 500 Greatest Songs of All Time. In 1985, Tina starred alongside Mel Gibson for the film Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, in which she played the role of Auntie Entity. She recorded a pair of songs for the soundtrack, We Don't Need Another Hero, Thunderdome, and One of the Living. They both achieved some chart success, in large part due to the critical success of the film. In 1986 she published her autobiography, I, Tina, in which she revealed to the public for the first time the years of abuse she had bravely and silently suffered throughout her marriage to Ike. The book became a bestseller. Ike was unrepentant. He admitted beating Tina but was quoted as saying, "Yeah, I hit her, but I didn't hit her more than the average guy beats his wife." Ike perhaps showed his true self best of all when, in a TV interview in 1990, he said, "I did no more to Tina than I would want somebody to do to my mother." In 1986 Tina recorded the album Break Every Rule. It was her final big success, eventually selling more than 4 million copies. Tina won 8 Grammy Awards throughout her career, 4 of them for the album Private Dancer alone. The best-selling soundtrack for Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome snagged 1 more, and her most successful single, What's Love Got to Do With It, took another. What is Tina Turner doing now? In 2016, after her divorce from Mike, Tina avoided personal relationships for many years, but in 1985 she met a German music executive called Edwin Bach. After a long friendship, the pair began dating the following year. In 2013, after 27 years together, the pair were finally married in a private ceremony at Lake Zurich, in Küsnacht, Switzerland. Tina has lived in a lake house on the shores of Lake Zurich since 1994. In January 2013, Tina revealed that she had applied for Swiss citizenship. After a mandatory citizenship test, she became a Swiss citizen on April 22, 2013, and relinquished her American citizenship in October of the same year. She can be seen relaxing and shopping occasionally with her husband in Milan or Zurich, and she has never looked happier. After a life of success and hardship, and decades of abuse, Tina Turner can finally be treated with the respect and love she deserves and has earned after 50 years at the top of the music industry. With over 100 million albums sold worldwide and a string of hit albums and singles, she can rest easy knowing that her fans will always give her the admiration that her remarkable story of strength and courage deserves.